All section, Class AA. Corey Baldwin, Scarsdale. The captain was a two-way starter as a senior, impacting the game as a passer, runner, and defensive back. He combined for over 1,400 yards of offense, rushing for 12 touchdowns and throwing for 7 more. He scored the dramatic game-winning touchdown to beat Arlington in the regular season and was also the league defensive back of the year. Baldwin is committed to play lacrosse at Penn State University. Greg Becker, North Rockland. The veteran linebacker was the centerpiece of the North Rockland defense the last 2 seasons. He was among the team leader in tackles and was a versatile receiver. As many great plays as Becker made this fall, none was bigger than his game-saving tackle at the goal line in overtime as the Red Raiders beat John Jay's Fishkill in the playoffs. Henry Bennett, Mamaroneck. The captain and 3-year, two-way starter, Bennett is all-section for the second time. He was the driving force of the offensive line and was dominating in the defensive side for the Section 1 Class AA finalists. Bennett will continue his career at Gettysburg College. Owen Boland, Carmel. The 2-year, two-way starter will go down among the best linemen to ever come through Carmel High School. That's saying something. He's also all-section for the second time, leading a unit that mounted almost 9,000 yards of offense and 920 points scored the last 2 seasons combined, posting a 24-1 record, highlighted by a state championship and back-to-back section crowns. Faishan Boyd, Mount Vernon. The Knights took some major strides as a program this season, thanks in large part to the leaders like Boyd. The senior wideout had 670 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns, racking up over 800 all-purpose yards. As a defensive back, Boyd had 36 tackles and 2 interceptions. One he returned for a touchdown. Anthony Brianti, Carmel. At the center of an offense that bulldozed opponents is Brianti, the best center in Class AA. The Rams offense lined up tight and ran behind Brianti all season, going back-to-back as Section 1 champions while putting up over 2,500 yards rushing and scoring 401 points this season. Jason Cox, Mamaroneck. An all-state player as a junior, Cox raised the bar as a senior this fall, as the leader of the best offense in school history. He had over 2,000 yards combined and 30 total touchdowns in 10 games, finishing a career where he amassed 51 scores and leading Mamaroneck to its first ever Section 1 Class AA championship game. Colin Cubberly, Arlington. The most imposing and physically dominant lineman in Section 1, maybe ever. The 6'6", 300-pounder paved the way for an offense that put up nearly 2,500 yards on the ground. Cubberly has 13 FBS scholarship offers, including 9 from Power 5 conference schools. James Davenport, Arlington. The electrifying junior is a true triple threat. As a wideout, he hauled in 6 touchdowns this season and averaged nearly 14 yards per catch. Defensively, Davenport had 28 tackles and 3 fumble recoveries, and he also emerged this season as one of the best kick returners in Section 1. Corey Dawson, New Rochelle. Dawson was the big play threat for the Huguenots, shining as a runner and especially as a receiver. He scored 4 touchdowns on the ground while hauling in 45 catches for over 900 yards and 5 scores. He highlighted his season by scoring 2 touchdowns in a win on the season opener against state finalist Newburgh. Will Delgarico, Scarsdale. The stabilizing force in the middle of the Scarsdale defense was Delgarico. The senior captain and linebacker led the team in tackles for the 2nd year in a row, recording 79 this fall. He also scored 4 touchdowns as a running back, including 2 in the win over Arlington. Brady Feliciano, John Jay's Fishkill. The junior quarterback took the next step in his progression to being one of the best Class AA quarterbacks this season. Feliciano ran for over 1,000 yards and passed for 963, surpassing 2,000 combined yards with 26 touchdowns in only 8 games, leading John Jay's Fishkill back to the Class AA playoffs. Nicholas Gallery, Ossining. Gallery was a fierce middle linebacker for the past 2 seasons for the Pride, leading the team in tackles again this fall. Gallery was so good in the open field and running sideline to sideline in pursuit. His hustle on defense late in games was pivotal in close victories over Horace Greeley, White Plains, and the Yonkers Force. Isaiah Graham, White Plains. On the football field this fall, Graham had the ability to do a lot of everything. He played almost every skill position at some point, passing for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns, running for 700 yards, and hauling in 34 passes for 600 yards and 8 touchdowns. He was also a threat in the return game, bringing back a kickoff for a touchdown. Damari Hamilton, Mamaroneck. The game-breaking back ran for nearly 1,200 yards and 17 total touchdowns, guiding the Tigers to the Section 1 Class AA final. Hamilton's breakaway speed was unmatched, which he showed in that final, scoring 3 touchdowns to cap a postseason where he found the end zone 7 times. Jaden Hamilton, Mount Vernon. The catalyst of the Mount Vernon offense was Hamilton, a powerful runner. He ran for over 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns to help the Knights reach the Class AA playoffs. He was especially good as a returner, bringing back 3 kickoffs for touchdowns, and posted 47 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 2 pick-sixes on the season. Tyler Italiano, North Rockland. The senior won the starting quarterback job in the preseason and led the Red Raiders to the Section 1 Class AA semis. He had over 1,000 all-purpose yards and 13 total touchdowns, running and passing for a score in the dramatic OT playoff victory over John Jay's Fishkill. Jacob Nags, Suffern. A standout wrestler and lacrosse player, Nags made his mark on the football field this fall for the Mounties. The veteran linebacker recorded 45 tackles, including 9 for loss, 5 sacks, and a fumble return touchdown, and he was the key in Suffern winning 4 of his final 5 games. Anthony LaFaro, Ossining. The senior running back shined this season despite missing some time. He was the big play threat in the Ossining offense, a durable between the tackle runner who did most of his damage out in open space. He piled up 105 yards rushing per game and scored 8 touchdowns, helping the Pride win 4 games. Logan Lutz, Suffern. Lutz was a 2-year, two-way starter for the Mounties. On the defensive line, he was relentless in pursuit of the football, posting 58 tackles, 3 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. He was also a big contributor in the pass game, recording 15 receptions and 4 touchdowns. Austin Luzzy, New Rochelle. The senior quarterback was among the most consistent passers in the region the last 2 seasons. Luzzy passed for over 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns, completing 60% of his throws with only 1 interception. He threw for over 150 yards in 6 out of 9 contests and ends his 2-year career with over 2,000 passing yards and 19 touchdowns. Alvin Martinez, Yonkers Force. The senior quarterback finished off a stellar season for the Force, where he returned from injury this fall and carried the offense at times. This season, he combined for over 1,600 yards of offense and 21 total touchdowns, guiding the program to a win over their rival, the Yonkers Brave. Martin Martini, John Jay's Fishkill. If teams were smart, they ran away from the senior defensive end. Some did learn the hard way, as Martini recorded 3 sacks as John Jay's Fishkill went 6-2 and posted 4 shutout victories. Martini also caught 18 passes as a tight end for the Patriots with a touchdown and earned a spot in the Senior Bowl. Jack Ramsey, Mamaroneck. While the Mamaroneck offense put up video game numbers, the defense locked it down, and Ramsey was the primary reason why. The physical senior middle linebacker set the school's tackle record with 155 this fall, including 20 for loss and 9.5 sacks. Ramsey will play next season at Cornell University. Michael Resigno, Arlington. The veteran quarterback continued his emergence among the best at his position this fall. Recipients passed for over 1,000 yards and 15 touchdowns in 10 games, while also rushing for over 500 yards and 6 scores, averaging over 8 yards per carry. He connected on every extra point he attempted and drilled a pair of field goals. Taylor Rhett, New Rochelle. Rhett was a force on both sides of the ball for the Huguenots, settling in this season as the leader in the middle of the defense. He was all over the field in the season-opening win over Newburgh and led the team in tackles this season. Matt Risley, Carmel. The lacrosse standout was a key cog on both sides of the ball for the Rams, mixing in as a running back while steadying the middle of the field at linebacker on defense. Risley was a major contributor in both championship teams for the Rams and will continue his career in lacrosse in college. Damian Santiago, Carmel. The big play threat downfield for the Rams was Santiago, a 6'4" wideout who made a ton of plays in the secondary in this run-based offense. Santiago couldn't be covered one-on-one and was terrific at finding open spaces in the secondary. As a defensive back, he was able to line up anywhere on the field and find ways to make plays. Javi Vizcaino, North Rockland. The senior inside linebacker emerged last season, but became the soul of the Red Raiders defense this fall. Vizcaino posted a team-best 110 tackles, 46 solo, and a pair of sacks for a squad that leaned on his defense in big moments, making it to the Class AA semifinal. The Section 1 Class AA Player of the Year, Nicholas Rosafort, Carmel. When you think of the style and toughness that became Carmel's MO the last 2 seasons, you can simply think of Rosafort.
Nicholas Rosafort never gave up on the play, and he takes it in for a touchdown.
The senior running back and defensive back embodied what the Rams became, a team that ran through you on offense and ran over you on D. Rosafort was a 3-year starter on both sides of the football, a 2-year captain, and 2-time All-Section selection, leading the Rams to consecutive Class AA titles. This season, he ran for 857 yards and 25 touchdowns, averaging 11.3 yards per carry. He had 65 tackles on defense and 5 interceptions, including the game clincher in the Section 1 championship.
Looking for the receiver, and it's intercepted by Rosafort. He hangs on through the catch. The pick is made, and Carmel is going to go back-to-back as section champs.
One of the greats that Todd Kay has ever had in his 34 years as head coach at Carmel, Rosafort is the Class AA Player of the Year.